doing our Squatch rankings, where we rank every team, put them in tiers, and give you our best description we can of our weekly rankings of the CDL teams. Let's get straight into it. So if we look here, if you're listening on podcast, I will say every tier so we know. The very bottom to up, the bottom one is CDL problems. The next one is twos. Next one after that is hazy. Then to our top three tiers, we got north and south, runner-up, and favorites. First off, CDL problems. Now, I'm sure you all, if you watch the CDL regularly, or if you're just tuning in because you wanted to learn, as you can't watch the games, CDL problems is Vegas Legion. So, this is CDL problems because throughout the entire age of the CDL, this team has had problems. They've never once been good. They continue to be disappointing. During this offseason, we expected the Vegas Legion to actually perform decently, more so than we've seen in the past. As Clayster and Temp, we're hopefully going to be a two-star duo who can bring some potential. TJ Halley can kind of fill the roles needed, and then hopefully Pro could perform as he did last year, as he was a substitute for the opposite Texas squad. But they have thus failed thus far. They are the only... Nope, they've won one. Them and the Seattle Surge have both won one. They're the two bottom-ranked teams on the CDL standings, and there just hasn't been much hope. We saw them beat the Minnesota Rocker. We don't know if that's more of a tell on the Legion or the Rocker. I'm going to say it's more on the Rocker than Legion, personally. But as we know from the CDL, and just like any good competitive sport, any week can be a week that you can win, you can pull one out. And that's what happened this time with Vegas Legion beating Minnesota Rocker. I think it was just this Sunday, if I recall. It could have been actually, it was Sunday. It was the first game of Sunday they beat Rocker. So next up, we got the twos. So this is going to make up the very large majority of the teams. First up, Minnesota Florida Mutineers. Then London Royal Ravens on top of them. Then we got the Boston Breach over all of them, with Surge, LAG, and Subliners coming in on top of them. Surge, LAG, and Subliners on top of the twos. So, we're calling this section the twos because all these teams have 2 wins except for the Seattle Surge. I think the Surge had a rough first weekend. However, so I'm gonna go through the Surge first. The Surge had a rough first weekend, losing to LAG and Boston, which were 2 teams. LAG were decent the first week. Boston was very hot, I think due to the M4. And coming out the second week, Surge were able to beat London Royal Ravens in an easy 3-1 fashion. And it wasn't easy. This could have gone Game 5. I think Surge would have won the Game 5, just based off the way they were playing. But it's hard to say because they do suck at S&D extremely bad. The problem with the Surge is, the reason why I'm letting them sit in the twos with the other 2 teams, there are more 2 teams, as there's more than half the league have 2 wins and 2 losses. But right now I'm putting them above these other 3 teams because I think these other 2 teams performed very well the first week, which were Boston and London. I think they are massively overrated due to that first week, and we've seen them come down thanks to the M4GA. Now, the Surge still have many major problems with S&D. They completely suck. They don't really have much ISO control. They are a very good hardpoint team, and with the stars they have, they can really pop off in any game, which is why I'm willing to put them over these 3 teams. However, I think LAG's S&D ability and ability to pull out close games to Seattle, I think LAG would win. And then the Subliners were looking very well. We're looking very good. Before I continue, I just want to say this is not a CDL standings. This is what I think going into the major. This is how I think things will shape up going into the next week. This is who I think the top teams are. This is not a foreshadowing to the future necessarily. It's more just, it's more just about who next week is, who I think at this point is the best going forward and who you can expect to win. As of right now, you'll see I think Paris would lose to everyone, and each team above the next would win the game below them. But they would also lose the games above them. So, next up, LAG. I think LAG's S&D is pretty good. They were able to clutch out a win against Boston, which was very impressive on a 3-1. And then they were also able to win a game. Which one was this? They were able to be they lost to the Subliners 3-0, which is why I have them below the Subliners. Subliners had a great week beating LAG. They were able to beat Boston 3-2. So I think Boston is very close. Okay, LAG was able to beat Boston on Sunday night. Very close. I probably should have Boston above the Surge, but the reason why I have the Surge above them is actually I think even though the Surge lost to Toronto, who's going to be a higher ranked team, I think they performed well and they were able to dominate the Ravens, which I think if Boston and Ravens played, I think it'd be very close. So because of that whole theoretical question, I'm going to have the Surge above them. The Mutineers, we still have to see more. Looking back on their schedule, they've actually played some pretty good games. They were able to beat the Thieves 3-1, which I think is more of a condemnation on the Thieves than the Mutineers. And then they lost 3-1 to the Rocker, which we saw the Rocker lose to the Paris Legion. So it's really hard to go off these games. They also lost 3-0 to Optic. I just think every team's been able to pull off some good wins. It's more about consistency. It's more about the stars you have on the game. And with going to a major, we're going to see some LAN issues pop up with some of these teams, i.e. Ravens, most likely. I can see the Mutineers having some issues with the rookie they have and stuff of that situation. I mean, again, maybe Surge could play better because they already had a full year of experience playing on LAN together. I've already talked about the Subliners. The Subliners have been great, being able to win some good matches. They lost to the Toronto Ultra 3-1. They beat the Gorillas 3-0. Again, this is all just so muddled. I'm really excited to get to the next one, which is Hazy, which is Minnesota Rocker. So the Minnesota Rocker have the best rank so far. They have the best record at a 10-6, 3-1, which is with the Toronto Ultra as the only two teams that have 3 wins on the year. I do believe they would be 2-2 with the rest of them, and I think Optic would be 3-1 up there if the whole forfeit didn't go through. And that's why they're kind of hazy. We've seen them lose some bad matches. We saw them lose. What did I just say? They just lost to the Vegas Legion, which was not good for. If you're a Minnesota Rocker fan, that's very worrisome. That was the Sunday night. That's the last day of matches going into a major. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them. They are hazy. I could think they could easily be down in the 2s. Just have a huge list of teams in the 2s, but I will respect what they've been able to do, having the best map record at 10-6. Almost every team has either 9. Every team. Legion have the least wins with 6 map wins. Everyone else has 7-9. Literally all these teams have 7-9, so it's really hard to say. But again, they're just a little hazy for me. Next up, we got North and South, Optic Texas, LA Thieves. I have this called North and South because these teams have been North and South in terms of their playing. We've seen them go off. We've seen them not play so well. In their match, we saw LA Thieves able to pull the last win, which is why the Thieves are above Optic. Sorry about that. From putting that wrong at first. But Optic, LA Thieves number 1, Optic number 2 in the North and South tiers. Again, LA Thieves, when we watch them, both these teams perform so well. They're obviously a top 4 team. Very well. There's not much else to say. I mean, they're just both really good. They've just been a little North and South. And we could say North and South has also been that way for the Ultra. But what they've been able to accomplish week 2, just by the eye test, Ultra looked better than both these teams. I think if Ultra played both these teams, I think Ultra would win at this point. It took them a week, that first weekend, to get their legs underneath them. I think they're going to perform very well. I have a hard time believing Scrappy is not going to be able to perform on LAN as a rookie. I don't think that'll be an issue. They obviously just have great players. Standy has been outstanding. If Standy plays the same way he has throughout the majors, I have a hard time believing they will not make the finals in Major 1 in Rally. They've just been playing so well. And then you got to give favorites to the Atlanta FaZe. I don't think it's even a question at this point. I mean, you could say Ultra, just by the eye test, saying Ultra looks better. I think I would slightly accept that. I'd have a hard time accepting that. I just think when we watch them, they just look so good. Being able to beat the Legion is not a huge feat, but they still 3-0 them like they should, as a lot of teams might not be able to pull out what they actually should be able to do. The FaZe always seem to be able to play the way they need to. They lost to Ultra on Friday of this last weekend, but I'm still gonna give FaZe the edge, as they just have the experience. I think Celium is playing at the MVP level again, which is crazy that he's going to just continue to play at this level. But I just think right now, if FaZe and Ultra played, I don't care what happened Friday night, I think if they played again, I think FaZe would win. Very close. And here's my rankings. Ultra, for like a numbered system, FaZe, Ultra, Thieves, Optic, Rocker, everyone else, and then Vegas Legion at the bottom. So yeah, that's your top teams: FaZe, Ultra, Thieves, Texas, Optic. If you have a problem with that, let me know down in the comments section below. Here's your tier list going into Major 1 Raleigh. I'm excited to go and watch. Let's get some W's in the chat for the CDL. Thanks for watching, and please feel free to like and subscribe and watch some other videos from MWII Release.